Our first speaker is Dr. Scott Senseman from Texas A&M University. He is a professor in the Soil and Crop Sciences Department. One of his recent activities has been the editor for the new herbicide handbook. His title is Academic Star Search: How Faculty Get Hired in One University System. Please help me welcome Dr. Scott Senseman.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. It's always fun to talk to this group. I guess I've done this one other time in Hawaii. It's not quite the same scene that we get outside, but pretty close here in San Antonio. What I want to do today is talk a little bit about some of the things that happened during a hiring of a faculty member. I had the opportunity to be a search committee chair here about a year and a half ago. And so I'm going to go through some of the things that I noticed through that process, and then we'll try to give you some perspective on some of those things. Hopefully we'll learn something. First of all, let me try and talk to you a little bit about what universities look for in a faculty member. One of the things I guess is really key, of course, is money. They like that. If your last name is Geddes or Rockefeller, you got a pretty good shot getting a job. If you got an avenue with the Vatican's money, you're going to be okay, probably. They like money, and you'll see in the rest of this slide, you'll see that happening quite a bit. They look for some intangible things. Perhaps, if you speak, they hope that you don't drool on yourself. If you are an individual who can look somebody in the eye when they talk to you, that's pretty good. They'll probably like that. They're really looking for things related to expertise. You're going to get expertise through your programs, master's or PhD, and that's going to, of course, help them get money. And again, diversity is something that they now look for in a faculty member. That's really becoming a push across the United States, I think, in looking for and giving opportunities to lots of different people of race and color, so forth. Productivity. What does productivity mean? Well, it could mean money, which is the next thing on the list, or it could mean publications, presentations, various activities with societies. Another thing that is pretty important is, I think for the newer faculty members particularly, is flexibility and talent. Those two things there, we're really looking for those two things. What do I mean by that? Flexibility is one of those things I think that people look for at the university system. When an individual comes into a job, they may have a very narrow area of focus, very narrow area of experience, but they want them to be able to expand that. Would that be fair, Dr. Rhodes? They might have this little area, but they'll have to adapt. In this day and time, they'll have to adapt to new things, and I think they want them to have the talent and the flexibility to be able to expand perhaps into new areas that they may at the beginning be uncomfortable with. I think that's one of the key things that I'm hearing more and more about. And of course, money. So you've heard me say that 4 times now. I think of this as sort of like Chinese water torture. When you're a faculty member, it's like somebody's dripping water on you all the time. Money, money, money. It may be a perceived problem. It may be a real problem. The truth is you need enough to do your job, in my opinion. Some people, and there's administrators in this room, and I won't name them because somebody will talk here pretty soon about it, but they're going to say, well, we want you to have X amount of dollars, all of you. Well, that may or may not be really true. Okay, they'll want that. That doesn't mean you're going to get kicked out if you don't have it. But it's always going to be an issue for a faculty member. It's okay. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. If you're talented and flexible, you're going to be fine. Okay, applying for the job. When you read some of these job announcements, and I think I made this comment a couple of years ago, I remember when I looked at my job announcement for my job, Texas A&M, I looked at it for a minute and I thought, I think Jesus of Nazareth could do this job, but I'm not sure I can. And so I was thinking, what about some of the other jobs that we see now? They're even more broad and more daunting. And I remember getting a call from USDA, and they wanted me to review one of their job announcements, and I thought, well, Jesus of Nazareth is going to have a tough time with this one. I'm thinking the Holy Trinity is going to be needed for that. But, you know, people apply for them, and they get them, and they do a good job with them. So I'd say, again, don't freak out. Just ask the questions, could I do part of this job right now? That's really, to me, the job announcement is more of a wish list for a university, to me. And even if you want to look at the USDA jobs as well. They want that individual to be able to maybe grow into all those things, but I don't think they really intend for that person to be able to do everything that's listed there right away. So that's why I say don't freak out. Would you like the challenge? Can I consider living in that area? Anybody here from Fort Stockton, Texas? Nobody? Good. If you get a job and you like the job, and it's in Fort Stockton, Texas, and you have a hobby like listening to opera or something, you're going to be disappointed because there's really not a whole lot of opera houses there in Fort Stockton, Texas. So you're going to have to consider stuff like that. Just ask those questions. Do I know somebody also who can tell me the truth about that particular place where I might have an employment opportunity? If yes to some or most of those, then to me you should go ahead and apply for that job. If you're still not sure, you might inquire further to make sure that you still fit and have an interest, and that would be considering contacting the hiring person or maybe the chair or search committee if you can find out who that is, or the department head, and ask them a little bit more about it and then inquire further. Go ahead and send off the application, but expect no immediate answer. We are really not quick. Quick and agile in the university system does not rhyme with university system. So just count on a very slow process. Okay, process starts. Typically what happens is, and this happened in our particular case for this particular job I'm talking about, the committee is formed. It's appointed by the department head, and the number of people on this committee can range pretty substantially depending on the position. In this particular case, we start off with 10 members of the committee. That's a big committee. We had all kinds of different people. We'll see all that, and it's really great trying to schedule those meetings with 10 people. Across departments also, it's a lot of fun. Now, that committee must meet the approval in our system of some human resources, hiring practice types of rules, so we have to be careful about certain things. The dean has to approve that list of individuals, and so again, that takes time. So that's another drawback. We're not always going to get that direct answer from across the tracks in their dean's office, so they have a lot of other things to do, and so that can be a slow process. What's the committee look like? We have departmental faculty that will be on that committee. They might be teachers, researchers, extension people. They may be on or off campus. They might have graduate students on that committee. I think in certain cases they may even have an undergraduate student. There will be diversity faculty on that committee, and I'll be honest with you, I feel sorry for our diversity faculty in our system because, and maybe this happens in other systems, but if there's, for instance, a female faculty member in our department, we don't have that many. So anytime somebody gets hired, they get put on that committee. And it's absolutely bizarre because they have other things they need to do to get promoted and to go through our system, but they're always getting drug into those committees, and it's really not fair. We also have non-departmental faculty, and we'll say periphery departments, like in this particular case, maybe there's horticulture departments involved, plant pathology departments involved. They're really there as potential collaborators. They're meeting to maybe see if this individual that we're going to hire may have some connections later on. There'll be some ex officio members, associate head, department head, that will help maybe the meeting process a little bit, and of course there'll be a committee chair. Notification. of things. Once the application process is started, you really should expect a letter from the committee chair stating they've received the packet, that we will be meeting to choose finalists at some point, and then the general timing of the interviews if you're going to be selected for that. Well, when we start to get applications in, the committee will review the candidates. Their packets are supposed to be reviewed independently, and then they'll go to the meeting and they'll rank these candidates based on their qualifications. Candidates to be interviewed are going to be chosen based on those rankings and the talent pool that we have and the funds available for the interview process. And what I mean by that is we're not going to bring in 10 people. We're going to choose hopefully about maybe 2 to 4. And I think on average we probably pull in about 3 people on a lot of these various interviews. And the reason we do that, we want to make sure we don't use up all the money. We have a certain budget we normally work with on bringing people in, on hotels and airline tickets and so forth, so we don't bring in everybody. Candidates to be interviewed are, of course, notified. Other candidates may or may not be released. If we have a pool of 10 people and we choose the top 3, the other 3 right behind that group may be held for a little while, just in case something happens where the top 3, a lot of things can happen. They can get job offers or they can decline. We have maybe a good talent pool in the next tier. We'll probably keep a lot of those people. So a lot of times they're not notified about that sort of thing, which also slows the process. Okay, the interview's 2 to 3 days. Schedule's really full. Process is, with 3 candidates, probably going to take 1 to 2 weeks. They know what they like in this interview process. They know, they've looked at your resume, they know what they like. Now they're going to find out what they don't like. That's honestly what I think is going on here. So you really have to, I don't want to say be on guard, but you have to really put your best foot forward. The interview process, candidates meet with faculty groups, teaching, research, extension. They might meet with administrators, college deans, experiment station directors, extension directors, so forth. They'll meet with human resources people regarding their benefit packages and so forth. They might meet with a realtor to figure out what kind of areas they might want to live in. They'll probably have a meeting with the department head to discuss maybe some equipment needs that they see and some of the things that they might want to do, and the department head will want to know that. Graduate students, they might meet with a group of graduate students to see how they fit in. And they'll probably, of course, meet with the search committee as well. They'll tour facilities, they'll give a seminar, and I think now our system pretty much asks if it's a research teaching job, they'll give a research seminar and also give a teaching seminar. My advice to you would be ready for both of them, plenty of time ahead of time, because you never know when these interviews are going to start, and they may start real quick, so be ready. You might interview with off-campus people, and you might also, of course, have a lot of face time with the search committee chair. In reviewing the candidates, the committee meets as soon as possible after the last interview. They'll discuss the candidates, rank the candidates, and then rankings and recommendation of that committee. Recommendations in yellow for a reason of the committee is sent to the department head. It's only a recommendation. It's a lot of time spent with this group, and it's only a recommendation. The department head can go the other way. And I got to tell you, as a committee chair of a search committee, it's really awesome when they do that. They didn't really do it in this particular case, but it has happened before, and that really makes faculty members really happy when they do that, and they really want to be on the next search committee after that. But it can happen, and who makes the final decision? I say it depends on the job. Could be a dean. That may be a very special position that the dean's really into, and they may make that final decision. The department head, I think for the most part, at least in our system, takes a recommendation of the faculty and moves forward with it, but not always. Okay, you can expect notification. Department head will notify perhaps the #1 candidate and extend that offer to them. Other candidates may not be notified, and there's a scenario here where #1 may not accept, #2 may not accept or may not be acceptable, an acceptable candidate for whatever reason. #3 may have gotten another offer in the meantime and gone on to that position. So lots of different things that can happen. The committee may need to look deeper into that second tier and figure out if they want to try to work with that group or reopen the position, again slowing the process down. Well, we have a courting period here after an individual is given the offer. A lot of things to consider here, of course, salary, technical support. Will you have a student that will be paid for it all for a while? Startup package. And I tell you, if they come at you and say, boy, we really like you, sir, we want you to come here, we're going to give you a startup package of about $150, and we'll give you a couple of sandwiches for about a month, and then you can really help us out. But, you know, if you get that kind of offer, you might want to rethink that, get an exit strategy. But that's an important thing. They're asking you to do lots of things, and you need some startup funds to do it. Expectations, we talked about the publications, the money. They're always going to be there. The appointment's going to be important. 12-month, 9-month, is it a 20% research, 80% teaching, or is it flip-flopped? Are you going to have potential collaborators, facilities, and equipment? Are they good and adequate for me to do this job? Am I going to have some good mentors? And really the committee chairs are really good resources, I think, for those kinds of things. Expectations from the process, expect a very slow process. There are a lot of schedules, a lot of documentation needs to be done through this process, a lot of administrative decisions need to be made, holidays get in the way, so just again expect a very slow process. Expect notification to be slow, but don't be afraid to ask if you've been waiting for a long time. And the last thing I guess I'd say, you know, life isn't fair in this process, but it isn't fair for the others either, so just remember that. With that, I'll stop and try to entertain any questions if we have time.